Today, I got the three biggest Bitcoin stories you need to know. Bitcoin is closing in on $80,000, on track for its biggest weekly gain in more than 2 years. And it already wiped out $4 billion in short bets since Wednesday. Bernstein says this isn't hype, it's liquidity. And they're pointing straight at the US Treasury. And in South Korea, trading volume has just exploded 273% in a single day as retail traders pile back in. Bitcoin hit as high as 78,449 today before easing to around 77,000 to $78,000, a 3-month high and part of a run that's taken it from a roughly 65,000 on Wednesday through $70,000 on Thursday, past the $75,000 overnight. That's on pace for a weekly gain north of 20%, the best week for Bitcoin in more than 2 years. Since Wednesday, over 4 billion in bearish short positioning have been liquidated as the market squeezed higher. This is the same story we have been tracking all week. Crypto Quant Bull Score Index just climbed to 60%, its first bullish signal since October 2025, and one it never reached during May, rallied to 82,000. That's a meaningful technical confirmation, not just a squeeze. But not everyone is convinced. Joao Weston called this nothing more than a relief rally. Nikolay Sondergai flagged that funding rates have turned positive and leverage traders are now crowded, meaning the e-squeeze money has largely been made and real spot demand needs to take over from here. Bitcoin's 24-hour range has been extremely wide given the volatility, briefly touching 78.449 with 76,000 to 77,000 acting as the level to hold. The next milestone everyone's watching is clean break of 80,000. Wall Street research firm Bernstein published a note attributing Bitcoin surge directly to the Treasury's decision to at least double its long dated debt buybacks to 4 billion per operations starting of September 9. The reasoning Bitcoin has historically reacted positively to liquidity expansion, and as AI spending increasingly draws from debt markets, some of the fresh liquidity is flowing into Bitcoin as a hedge. The numbers back it up. Spot Bitcoin ETF pull in 1.6 billion this week alone, including 606.3 million in a single day. Thursday with BlackRock's IBIT adding a 503 million on that. Combined ETF assets have rebounded above 85 billion, up from around 70 billion in June. This matters because it gives the rally a mechanism, not just a narrative. And there's a real winner hiding in the data. Strategy, the largest corporate Bitcoin holder, just flipped back into unrealized profit. Over 2 billion worth on its 840 447 Bitcoin, which were bought at an average price of 75,385. Bernstein also flagged that regulators' tailwinds could keep building regardless of what happens with the Clarity Act, since both the SEC and the CFTC are moving on their own rulemaking anyways. ETFs outflows had peaked around 7 billion during May and June, roughly 10% of assets under management at the time. This week's 1.6 billion inflow is a serious reversal of the trend, not just a blip. South Korea's largest crypto exchange, Upbit, saw its 24 hours trading volume jumped from 273% to 1.8 billion, its highest since mid-March. MidHub, the country's second largest exchange, saw a smaller but still sharp 132.9% jump to about 934.9 million. SRP, not Bitcoin, was the single most traded asset on both exchanges. But it's Bitcoin's rally that's pulled Korean traders back to crypto in the first place. This is a real time snapshot of how fast retail money moves once a rally gets real. Korean crypto traders had collapsed to just 8% of Kospi stock markets volume early this year as investors chase semiconductor stocks. Instead, both Upbit and BitHub saw roughly 50% revenue declines in the first half of 2026. Once researchers described Korean retail investors as return chasing rather than asset loyal, meaning capital floods towards whatever performing the best right now. That's a useful reminder. This rally isn't just an ETF and Wall Street story. It's pulling global retail capital back in too. This volume spike happened in direct response to Bitcoin's move above 75,000 to 78,000 this week. A clear example of price action driving retail participation rather than the other way around. So here's where we stand. Bitcoin is on pace for its best week in over 2 years and closing in on 80,000. Bernstein says it's Treasury liquidity driving the move, not hype, and South Korea retail traders just pile back in with a 273% volume spike. What to watch out for next, whether Bitcoin actually clears the 80,000 and whether ETFs inflow keep pace once the short squeeze runs out. Those are the three biggest Bitcoin stories. I'll see you tomorrow.